Devrim, very happy that you are here. So you can start when
Likewise.
you are ready. And yeah.
Thank you very much. So, thank you. Thank you. I would like to start with with a complaint, because I'm going to complain to the organizers. I was told that my talk would be 45 minutes, and it's 30 minutes. So last year, I gave a lightning talk in a few Postgres conferences, and I used 90 slides in 5 minutes. So basically, I can speak fast. But in this specific slide, I have 130 slides or something. But I promise I'll squeeze everything in half an hour by skipping some portions of the talk. So the Devrim Gündüz, I've been working for Postgres for a long time. I think 1998 was the first year that I started using Postgres. In this talk, don't expect a happy story, okay? Because if you think everything's perfect, life wouldn't be good, right? Because we are here to develop the things, we are here to make things much better. And this talk is about making things much better. So I'm one of the Postgres major contributors. I do the Postgres RPMs. If you are using Postgres RPMs on Red Hat, Fedora, SUSE, and Rocky, and Alma Linux, whatever, I build the RPMs. I used to break website, and then I don't break it anymore. I have a tattoo as well, Postgres tattoo. So I asked them not to change the logo. If they change logo every year, that's going to be a huge problem, right? So fortunately, that's nothing. I travel a lot. You can find me in London, in Istanbul, or in Chicago, basically, or in the airport lounges. Sometimes I take more showers in the airport lounges than my home. So anyway, and I sometimes DJ, you know. Music is my thing, so let's do it. Anyway, so this talk is going to talk about the history of the extensions, and then introduction. And I will skip again a few parts, because like in the original talk, we have mentions to the references to which goes back to 15 years when we first had extensions. But the slides will be available. So the slides are already available in pgconf.de website. So this year in Berlin, I gave this talk with almost similar content. So this is just updated version. So you can still download it here. So who are using Postgres? Hands down. Who are not using Postgres? Shame on you. Yeah. So you should use Postgres anyway. So, and the extensions is a good start of using Postgres. Everyone uses Postgres. Because everyone is a PG statements fan. If you are here for you've been here for the whole day, I heard at least 2 speakers mentioning about PG statements, right? Because everyone uses PG statements. Smile, right? So even Oracle people love it. So, right? Yeah. So consider this case in Oracle Cloud. There's Postgres database, right? We are working on it, right? We're working on it. So in the past, I will skip those slides, but I will just skip until we get there. So in the past, there was no extension concept, and there was something in the core, which is called the contrib modules, which is still called the contrib modules. If you are looking at from the packaging point of view, we still call them the contrib modules. They are actually distributed with the tarball, but not a part of the main database. The idea was like having something close to the core, but not including the core. It's like PG statements. Like for every customer that I have or every user that I see, everyone is using PG statements. And one of the questions that we get every time in the booth or somewhere, why is it not included in the core? Because the skipping is over there is much better. So, and then we had some extensions. We had the extension feature introduced like about 15 years ago, like 14 years ago, sorry, in 9.1 version, which is like too old. I met with someone in here, maybe he's not here, I believe. They are using 9.6. I told them not to do this. Like, it's too old, right? Anyway, upgrade. And then we were able to package features into Postgres And we were able to maintain them extremely easy, right? Because in the past, for example, when we tried to install PG statements, we had to uninstall, we had to run an uninstalled script before installing a new version, which doesn't make any sense. And then we had no the idea of versioning as well. So we had lots of problems back then. But I mean, this is, as I told you, this is not a happy story, and we are here to improve the stuff, right? Otherwise, we would stop using Postgres 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And fortunately, there is some dependency checking. So basically, I will talk about those dependencies. So it also helps you, well, if you want to use PG routing, for example, it says you need to use PostGIS. Or if you want to use PostGIS Tiger, you need to use DB-Link, stuff like this. So you don't have to worry about the missing dependencies. But the only thing is, when you want to install an extension which requires a dependency, that dependency must be available on the operating system. So what does it mean? Basically, either the system administrator needs to install it, or if you are using cloud provider, see, I cannot say it anyway, anything. So if you are using a cloud provider, and then some of them include many of those extensions as well. But of course, from the user, as I'm a packager, okay, I make my life. I mean, I spend 100% of my time for Postgres and getting paid for it, and my time is actually for packaging this stuff. So I know lots of extensions. I build extensions every day. Like today, I built 2 more extensions to the Postgres repo while I was working over there. And then there are lots of extensions, and basically we have a control file for each extension. There's a control file which is quite basic, just a few lines, 3, 5, 6, depends on the extension, which includes the properties and properties of the extension. And then the one important thing is they have to be available for each major Postgres version. This is one of the things that I will mention during my talk as a non-happy story. Because, I mean, I don't want to point, I will point my fingers during my talk, but there are some slackers of extension orders who don't publish their extension, let's say Postgres 18. So you want to use Postgres 18, you depend on an extension, but the extension isn't updated for a long time, right? We will get there. So don't expect a happy story, but it must be available for every Postgres major version available on the operating system. So let me tell, if you are talking about dependency tracking, in control file, it says in H3 PostGIS, it says you need to have H3, PostGIS, and PostGIS raster before being able to install PostgreSQL. Before being able to install H3 PostGIS. So basically, it gives you dependency. So if everything is installed, when you paste the cascade command, which I'm going to show you in the next few slides, it will install everything for you. And once everything is installed, it's ready for usage. Is it true? No, it's not true. Because as I told you, this is not a happy story, right? Wish everything was so simple, because some extensions also require a restart. Because you have, like, if you are using Citus, for example, that's the first one that came into my mind. It used to be added to shared parallel libraries parameter in Postgres, which requires a restart. So, however, like PG, if you are using PG Partman, which you should, of course, you don't need to restart your database, but if you want to use it background worker feature of PG Partman, then you have to. So, I mean, there is a lot of things, but they are well documented. And if an extension requires a restart or something else, it will warn you before starting using it. So in the recent Postgres version, I mean, all supported Postgres versions, there are 2 views which you can get idea about Postgres extensions. one of the in Postgres 18, things are quite different. In Postgres 18, some great people, I should say, came up with an idea of being able to install, or say eventually use, extensions which are available on the operating system, but doesn't have to be installed by the system administrator. So what does it mean? So the idea is like having like OCI images or a non-standard location. So actually DBA also can install an extension and make it available for usage inside the database, which is awesome, right? And this also, if you are using Kubernetes, actually this is why the old feature has been actually written. One of the major reasons that it was written, because in Kubernetes now you don't have to rebuild your cluster because you have an extension, right? You can just attach it and use it, and unattach it and don't use it. So basically, it's quite convenient for those users. Starting Postgres 18, we are now also able to track if there are multiple versions of the same extension are available or not, which is quite handy, because let's say if you are using version X of an extension and you want to also install the next version so that it's ready for usage, then Postgres is going to show you the availability of the extension. And then, again, of course, it will bring more problems. That's what as I told you, don't expect a happy story, right? So, but on the other hand, I don't want to say that it's hard to use. It's quite convenient. I just want to make sure that I'm not here to market anything. I'm here to tell the truth, right? Like Valeria said in her previous talk, right? She said, "I'm not selling anything." She said, "I'm here for you telling the truth." The same thing. I'm still here for the same thing. So let's talk about the state of Postgres extensions. They are everywhere. So you can find them on GitHub, you can find them on GitLab, you can find them on OSGeo, GTA, PGXN, SourceForge, Postgres Git repo, PIPI, and their own websites, and Bitbucket, and laptops. Oops. So you may think this is a joke, right? Who develops a software and doesn't put in any of these, right? I'll get there. So laptops, because I told you I'm a packager. I deal with people. And I deal with people every day, and it's not fun. Believe me. I find a tarball somewhere. It's not in the Git repo. And then there is the latest release, which this is true story, by the way. Still true story as of yesterday, because I checked it. So there is a release which is like about 7.5 years ago. And there is no recent commit to the Git repo. So there is a Git repo. So there is no recent commit, but then they release a new version. Okay, so because just to make sure, I need to see the source code to see the extension. So I asked order, and this was the answer. The sources are in the zip package included. Really? Yeah, I know the sources are over there, but I'm looking for the tarball, and I just kept pestering him because I'm looking for the answer, and he says, "Your tone seems like you think you are my boss, which you are not." I'm not your boss. I'm you. I'm the user. I want to use it safely, right? Because if you are talking about an extension, I have to make sure that they are safe and secure enough, right? Great. So is this all problem? Of course not. As a packager, I told you, in Fedora 39 there is something, 40 there is something, Red Hat 8 is something different, in SUSE is completely something else. So basically, I'm working on some if and else conditions like almost every day. Let's move on. Is this all? Of course no, because this is not a happy story, right? And then everyone has a great idea, right? Like we all have great ideas. That's what we are looking for, right? Hey, let's make it as an extension to Postgres. Let's do it. Perfect. That's a great idea. Users say yay, and they deploy it to the production. It works great. Perfect. Yeah, it works great. The extension is great. And then, okay, there's a new Postgres version. It doesn't compile. I also tell them, as a packager, it doesn't compile. We pester them, they want to upgrade, and developer is just doesn't respond at all. So if you want to start using an extension, make sure that there is some nice people behind those extensions, not one single person. Because, yeah, it's open source, everyone cannot pick it up, but sometimes developers even don't respond to pull requests. So it's a major problem is non-responsive maintainers. Extension gets stalled. Some people send pull requests. Some people try to fork. It's not good for the users. It's not good for the community. Not good for packagers, of course. And then eventually, this is my life, I told you. So if you think I have a fancy life, yes, I do. At that point, this is what can I do sometimes, right? Like, there is no response from the developer, no response from the forwarders. All I can do, grab an espresso martini and enjoy the life. I'm sorry, that's the wrong slide. So we do some actual work. Anyway, so there are lots of packages around there. If you are using Ubuntu and Debian, we have lots of extensions. If you are using Red Hat-based, RPM-based distributions, good for you. In Windows and macOS and other operating systems, we have some of them, but not all of them. And let the breakage begin. Again, there's a new Postgres release. There's a new GCC version, right? And it doesn't compile with GCC 14, and then 15, and 16, and 25, and 55. I mean, this is what I see in my dreams, because 40 years later, I feel like I won't be able to compile the same extension again, right? So that worked. New LLVM version, the dependency version. And so it's not that easy. So anyway, so in wiki.postgresql.org, we have a website. We have things for the extension orders. If you are lucky, if your extension is listed there, it means we don't have a new version working against that release. By the way, don't get me wrong. Many extensions work. I mean, I should say 80% of the extensions just work, or they get updated frequently. And then, if it doesn't happen, it's a problem. So this is my life. If you thought that I was making a joke about non-responsive maintainers, I'm not. Okay? I spent like a whole chunk of my life pinging other people from the other part of the world that I have no idea where they are. So these, this is the list of the extensions that doesn't build against Postgres 18, except timescale DB. Why except timescale DB? Because they release a new version today. And I couldn't update my slides because we were working in the booth. Sorry about this. So anyway, so if you are using these extensions, they are unable to work and unable to build against the recent Postgres versions. Only Rep Manager will be out in November, so it's not that bad. So there are some slickers. And there are some extension orders, which is, again, real story. They said, we will update the extension when they release 17.0. No, there is a beta, right? Go and do this. There is RC. Go and do this. So they don't do. So what did I do? I complained. I stopped complaining, and on social media said, please complain to the extension orders, not to us, because I'm busy with my espresso martini, right? I have a life. Anyway, so installing an extension is quite easy, but again, there are some stuff like when you say create the extension Citus, for example, it says Citus can only be loaded via shared preload libraries. So actually, it's going to tell you what to do before installing the extension. Quite easy, right? So basically, you add this parameter to Postgres, and you will restart your database. It's a downtime, but that's fine because you are installing a major feature into Postgres. I accept it. And then when everything is done, it should be then you are ready to go use the extension. Again, I'm almost going out of time, but because I have to, I want to talk about the extension in general. So let's say if you want to install H3 PostGIS, it says this is not installed. So what you're going to do? Use the cascade feature. So once you install the extension with Cascade, it will install the dependencies which is defined in the control file by the extension owner. So quite easy. Basically, it tells you what to install, where to install, what to do, use Cascade, and you're done. Right? So don't think it's a quite hard thing. Go read it. Right? Because I know a good person who's doing the PostgreSQL RPMs and who's currently speaking at a conference in Sofia, has built a website on yum.postgresql.org, and it actually gives you an overview of, for each individual extension that we have the RPMs, it has a detailed documentation of how to install it with the command line and how to load it to the database. And some extensions like pg state statements has parameters that you can use in postgresql.conf, right? Like pgpartman, like Citus, like pg state statements. There are lots of extensions that you can add some configuration parameters, or pg set key cache, stuff like this. So we have an extension documentation. You can take a look, and it's quite easy for you. Updating an extension, that's the most tricky part, because when you install the updated version to the operating system, it means the binary is updated, or the source file is updated, but the database using the old version. It's quite tricky. See my point? Let's say you are using PGPartman 5.0, and you update it to 5.1 for a good reason. But then the current clients are still using the old version, but the source file on the operating system is a new version. So it means you should restart your database for an extension to work properly, right? And actually, starting Postgres 18 started to complain about this. Like if you go to PGPartman and if you see the latest release notes for 5.3.1, I think, you will see the detailed explanation of the problem feature in Postgres 18. Yeah, so because there are duplicate source files. Uninstalling is easy. Drop extension is going to do the thing. And if it depends on other stuff, just use the Cascade, okay? But don't forget, when you drop an extension, it also drops the objects that depends on the extension. So you may end up with losing some data. Just be careful. Okay, so let's talk about this is what I'm here for. Thanks to organizers. They gave me a break for 10 minutes after my talk, which means I will cheese a little bit. Right, may I? Thank you very much, appreciate it. So first of all, there are some programming languages, which is called PL. This is the only default extension in Postgres. If you are writing sort procedures with SQL, with PGSQL, that's always available in the Postgres database. Or if you want to write a sort procedure with Python, it's over there. It's PL Python. Perl, Tcl, still available. Java, Lua, Bash, right? You can write a sort procedure with Bash. Or R, if you are, I know anyone using R language in here. Yeah, perfect. R language is great for statistics. And we have a sort procedure, well-maintained extension for PLR. And stuff like this. Postgres, everyone loves Postgres. Because Postgres is the game changer, one of the game changers in Postgres. This is developed completely apart from Postgres core. And they have their own release cycles, but they follow Postgres. So basically, they release before the major release. They are not slackers. They know what to do. And then it's a special database extended for Postgres. It's an extension, but it's too huge. I mean, the feature-wise is awesome. Postgres.net is the URL. And the latest version is 3.6. pgrouting. Pgrouting is extension to Postgres, basically. It extends an extension. So if it adds the routing algorithms to Postgres. Postgres. So if you are trying to solve the traveling salesman problem or something like this, Postgres is, pgrouting is for you. It comes with a lot of number of routing algorithms. PG stat statements. Yeah, everyone loves PG statement. This is a must install for everyone. If you don't think that's the case, I'll talk to Pablo. Have you seen Pablo in the booth? The big guy? Yeah, just think twice, okay? Think twice. PG vector. There was someone today who was looking for PG vector stuff. Unfortunately, there is no PG vector talk in this conference, but it starts a vector simulator search for Postgres. It's great, awesome, and it's also one of the major additions to Postgres in the last few years, to be honest. So PG partman is a must, again, use extension like PG statements, but if you are using partitioning. So to be honest, the partitioning in Postgres is not usable. I mean, usable in terms of not like from user point of view, maintaining the partitions is a problem. But PG partman makes it extremely easy. Creating the partitions, like aging the data, it makes everything extremely easy, okay? So if you are using the partitioning in Postgres, which you should do, please always use PG partman to maintain it. Citus, it's 100% open source. It's horizontal scaling of Postgres. It does sharding and replication. It's awesome, and it gives you to be able to maintain your like warehouse stuff problems with Postgres. And timescale DB, it's a PostgreSQL-based time series database. It's partial open source. You know, source is open, but it's not open source. So you can see the code perfectly, no problem. But the part of the most functional part of timescale DB is licensed to prevent cloud providers to fork it, to be honest. But it's not fully open source, and it gives you automatic partitioning across time and space. It's awesome. The release that they had today also has unlocked tables for hyper tables, right? Yeah. So it's much better than better with today's release, to be honest. PG audit, like, you know, everyone's data is quite important. I haven't seen any data which is not critical for a company, right? That's why we are keeping the data. PG audit is the auditing extension for Postgres, and it's developed with, I think, some US government institutions to check the security of the security of the software. So basically, it helps you to audit your database, connections, access to tables, whatever is logged to the Postgres log file, and you can analyze it and see if there are any problems or not. Federated databases. FTW is one of the most important features. Don't get me wrong, I love Postgres, but this is one of the reasons I love Postgres more and more, because it also helps you to connect with Oracle, SQL Server, Sybase, MariaDB, Hadoop file system, Mongo, even SQLite, Firebird, JDBC data source, ODBC data source, OGR files, CSV files, and even PG Bouncer. So basically, these are the foreign data wrappers which helps you to connect to other data sources. Well, there is more. Don't get me wrong. There is at least 100 more FTWs. These are the things that I got in here. So I'm almost there. I know I have 1 more minute. Perfect. There are lots of extensions. I mean, if you want to use like hypothetical indexes in Postgres, right? There is no feature in Postgres which gives you to add hypothetical indexes. So you want to see a result of an index before actually creating it? Yeah, it's a good idea, right? So HypoPG is one of those extensions. Or PG cron. If you want to run your jobs within Postgres database, use PG cron. Or if you want to use a background worker with Postgres, it's this. Monitored authentications, incremental view maintenance, PG squeeze. PG squeeze is the new way, it's a new PG repack, I should say maybe. But the good news is PGSQL is going to be integrated in PostgreSQL code as of Postgres 19. Yeah, so basically we will have much better vacuum stuff and repack stuff built in Postgres. It's one of the most interesting and most exciting features in Postgres 19, which we will be released hopefully next year. Top end, there are lots of, top end is also another interesting thing. Don't get me wrong, there is more. If you want to use a database in read-only mode, this is what you can do. If you want to prioritize some of the processes, this is what you can use. You can give hints to your Postgres queries. You can roll back a specific statement. Basically, you cannot roll back a specific statement in Postgres if you're in a transaction, because of the transaction rules. But you can use this extension to be able to roll back one specific statement inside the transaction. Or PG memcache, like PG audit log to file, PG sphere, PG sodium gives extremely critical crypto interface for crypto functions for Postgres. It's one of the interesting features of extensions. If you want to connect to a web server and get some data, you can use PGSQL HTTP. Semantic version, there are lots of stuff which is being added more and more. So I would like to say thank you, first of all, listening to me, and first of all, coming to this conference. Thanks for organizers for having us in here. And we are in the booth. Pablo and I are in the booth. So if you have any questions, unfortunately, we will have to get those questions in the booth. Come and join us. Grab stickers, because I don't want to bring those stickers back to my home. Grab some brochures and enjoy Postgres. Thank you, Postgres.